On this night, a great storm rages over Collinwood. All the elements of nature seem to be at war, clashing with monumental fury. Not far from the great house, there is one who has taken refuge from the storm, and unknowingly has found shelter in a place that is destined to be her tomb.
You can't go out in that.
But I have to.
You'd better wait inside until it lets up at least a little.
I was so sure that I'd have the time to get down here and make it back.
Well, perhaps it'll let up soon.
I don't think so. It's not that kind of a storm.
Well, you can't go out in it now. That's impossible.
But I've got to get back.
Well, if you're afraid that they'll worry, I'll send Willie over to let them know that you're all right.
Oh, no. No one should go out in a storm like that. Well, I'm afraid that I'm going to have to stay here for a little while. I'm very sorry.
Forgive me if I'm delighted.
You are kind.
Have you ever been in this house during a storm?
One like this.
This house was built for storms.
What do you mean?
This room is never more beautiful than when it's lit by lightning. Look. And the thunder echoing down the corridors.
Yes, I see.
It was for nights like this that this house was built.
I think I know what you mean.
Do you?
Yes. But what am I going to do if the storm doesn't stop?
You'll wait here, and I'll do my best to entertain you.
But I don't think you understand. I think this storm is going to last all night.
Well, if my company wearies you, you can always rest a while. Don't forget, Josette's room is ready at all times.
Yes, of course. Josette's room. Would you mind if I did stay in Josette's room?
Of course not.
Somehow the idea of spending the night in her room appeals to me.
Why?
I don't know. I've always felt a closeness to her.
I wonder why you do.
Well, I suppose it's because I don't know who my ancestors were. And I've always liked to imagine that she was one of them. I suppose that sounds very foolish to you.
Not at all. It's very easy for me to believe that you are descended from Josette.
Why do you say that?
Well, because you're so much like her in so many ways. Well, not only because of your beauty, but because of your intelligence, your warmth, your generosity.
You're very flattering.
Only truthful.
Sometimes when you talk about Josette, it's as if you knew her.
I know a great deal about her. I've taken the trouble to find out all I can, because among my ancestors, I have always found Josette to be the most fascinating.
Then may I ask you one thing, Mr. Collins?
Barnabas, please.
Barnabas.
What is it?
Once long ago, you told me about her death, how she threw herself from Widow's Hill.
Yes, I've always considered it the saddest of the family legends.
You described how she ran to the cliffs. Ran because someone was chasing her.
Yes?
Who was chasing her?
Her lover. The man who loved her more than anyone else in the world.
Do you know who he was?
Yes?
Who?
Jeremiah Collins.
Her husband?
Yes.
Her husband was chasing her?
According to the legend, yes.
But then he must have done something to frighten her, to make her feel so desperate.
Perhaps he did, intentionally or unintentionally.
But I thought he loved her.
The man who ran after Josette Collins that stormy night long ago loved her more than life itself.
And yet he was responsible for her death.
Well, he never intended for her to die, only to live.
I don't understand the kind of love that ends in death and destruction.
Perhaps Josette never understood him, or the extent of his love.
Well, I don't understand a love like that. If he loved her, well, then he wouldn't have frightened her.
Perhaps. But I can't defend everything he did. Nor could he.
Well, if you don't mind, I am a little tired. I think I'll go upstairs now.
Of course. Vicky.
Yes?
I...
What is it?
Well, the storm seems to have lessened somewhat.
Well, do you think so?
I'm not sure.
Do you think I could make it back to Collinwood?
Possibly. I'd be delighted to accompany you if you wanted to go back. I leave it entirely in your hands.
Well, it sounds worse than ever to me.
Then you'd prefer to stay?
I think so. If it would be no inconvenience to you.
Of course it would be no inconvenience.
I appreciate your hospitality.
Of course.
I'm sure that no one at Collinwood will miss me, so it's perfectly all right for me to stay here, I think, isn't it?
Yes. I hope you find everything you need.
I'm sure that I will.
Good night.
Good night.
Barnabas?
Willie, what are you doing up?
Well, I heard the storm. I thought I'd better check to see if everything's all right.
Well, everything is fine. I'll see that the doors and the windows are secure.
Barnabas?
What is it?
Has anybody been in the house tonight?
Why do you ask?
Because of something I found.
What?
This.
This wall?
Yeah. It looks like it belongs to a kid, but I'm pretty sure no kid could have gotten into the house. Every door and window was locked all day long.
Oh, where did you find it?
In the basement, near the coffin.
The coffin? Willie, if you let young David sneak in here during the day...
There's no way he could have, Barnabas, I swear to you. The house has been locked up, tight as a drum, all day long.
Then where did this come from?
I don't know, Barnabas.
David had gotten into the house and gotten to that coffin. We would have heard about it by now.
Well, of course, he isn't the only kid who hangs around here.
What do you mean?
There's that little girl.
Little girl?
The one I told you about, the one who plays around here. But I don't see how she could have gotten in here either.
How old was that girl?
9, 10.
9, 10.
You know, it's funny. Maggie Evans talked about seeing a little girl. I thought she was crazy.
She was.
Hey, maybe that bull was down there all the time and we never noticed it before.
Possibly. But I better go and take a look in the basement just the same.
You want me to come with you?
No. I'll go alone. You stay here.
Well, what do you expect to find?
Nothing, but I better look anyway.
Barnabas?
What?
I keep having the strangest feeling.
What are you talking about?
I keep having a feeling that there's someone else in this house besides us.
Wait here.
Willie?
Miss Winters. For a moment, What are you doing here?
Didn't Mr. Collins tell you I was staying here?
Well, no, he didn't.
Well, I stopped by to talk to him, and I got caught in a storm. And he was kind enough to let me stay in the house.
You're spending the night here in this house?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
In Josette's room.
Josette?
Willie, the strangest thing...
Miss Winters, do you really think it's a good idea for you to stay here?
A good idea.
Well, I mean, won't they be worried about you, the people at Collinwood?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think they've all gone to sleep by now.
You can't tell. And I know you don't want them to worry.
Listen, Willie, I don't want to go out in a storm like this, and it's not going to blow over until...
I got a coat you could wear. Now, I'll go home with you to make sure you get home through the woods, all right, okay?
That's very nice of you, but it's not necessary.
You want to stay here?
Well, to be quite honest with you, I like the idea of spending the night in Josette's room.
You do?
Yes. It's very comfortable. Anyway, I wouldn't drag anybody out in a storm like this.
Now, look, I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't.
You surprise me, Willie.
Why?
You never used to be this thoughtful.
Miss Winters.
Yes? What is it?
You're making a big mistake.
Why do you say that?
Yes, Willie. Why do you say that? Why is Miss Winters making a mistake?
People might get the wrong idea.
Because she's staying in this house tonight?
Yeah.
I'm sure that your concern is completely unwarranted.
course it is.
Maybe so.
But Willie was kind enough to offer to take me back to Collinwood.
Was he?
I told him it wasn't necessary, but I appreciate his generosity.
Well, Willie's a very generous young man. Aren't you, Willie? Oh, come now, don't be modest. I dare say that you will someday be amply rewarded for your generosity. Well, what brings you downstairs, Miss Winters? The storm? Couldn't you sleep?
No, it wasn't that. A very strange thing happened.
What?
Well, I was sound asleep and a voice woke me. It was singing.
Singing?
Yes, it was a little girl.
A little girl?
I thought she was in my room. She kept singing the same song over and over again. London Bridge is falling down.
Impossible.
I know. When I lit the candle, there was nobody in the room. But I heard the singing distinctly.
It must have been your imagination.
I was wide awake. It was so real.
I assure you there is no little girl in this house.
I suppose it was my imagination, but I don't know.
It must have been.
I guess so.
Are you frightened to return to Gisette's room?
Oh, no. I'm not afraid.
Are you sure?
Yes, I was just being silly. There's no reason at all why I shouldn't go back to that room.
Well, let me know if there's anything you need.
I will.
Good night.
Good night.
Who is she, Barnabas, this little girl?
There is no little girl.
But Miss Winters heard her.
That was her imagination.
Well, she didn't imagine this. How did it get here, Barnabas, unless she left it here, whoever she is?
There is no little girl.
But Barnabas...
There is no little girl, you understand?
Yeah.
Wait. What were you saying to Miss Winters when I came into the room?
What?
Go on, what were you saying? Well, why don't you answer me? You were trying to warn her about me, weren't you?
No.
You were warning her about me.
Yes.
The truth. At last you're telling me the truth.
You can kill me if you want to. But I didn't want you to harm her. She never did anything to deserve it.
You know what would have happened to you if you had warned her.
Yes.
And you know what I should do to you now for even trying.
You gonna kill me?
No.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Nothing.
Nothing. You mean you change your mind? You aren't gonna punish me?
No. I want you to talk to me.
Talk.
Well, better still, don't talk, but stay here.
You like her, don't you? That's why you don't want to harm her. That's it, isn't it? Don't harm her, Barnabas. She never did anything to deserve it.
Be quiet, Willie.
You don't want to do it. I can tell you don't.
Please. Willie, the sound of your voice is irritating me. You'd best you go to bed.
Barnabas.
Do as I say. All right. And stay in bed for the rest of the night.
Dark Shadows is a Dan Curtis production.